Okay, I'm a little more put together. I've had breakfast and brushed my hair. Can you tell? Probably can't even tell. But anyway, oh, by the way, this is the story of Jesus, not the story of John. It is the Gospel of John in the Passion Translation. Anyway, I make lots of little interesting mistakes in these videos. It's really what makes them wonderful. But getting back to Rosebud, so I can't remember whether I had actually registered at PBI before I went to Rosebud, but I was going to Rosebud to check it out anyway, so maybe I hadn't registered at Prairie yet. But my parents and I drove to the middle of nowhere, near Drumheller, to visit Rosebud one day to check out this whole theater program that they were starting. And when we got there, one of the fellows met us, Wes Wickerink, for those of you who remember him. And he gave us a tour of the town. But one of the very first things he said to me was, one of our actresses has had to leave suddenly, and rehearsals are already well underway for the summer production. Are you interested in being in our summer show? Now, he had known me for about 10 minutes, didn't know a thing about me really, except that I was there to check out the school. And but he was offering to put me on stage for the summer. And better yet, it was a paying job. So I thought about it for a minute and was scared to death, but my parents really encouraged me to think about it. Wes gave me the script and said, you know, go home, learn the part, and let us know ASAP if you want the role. So I did that, and I, despite my reservations and my deep-seated fears, I said yes. And so I worked on the part at home. I practiced in our church gym, and then I went to Rosebud to act for the summer. Now, I have a really good story about the first time I was on stage in Rosebud. Keep in mind that rehearsals for the summer show had been underway for quite a while, I think. And so I hadn't been involved, but I had learned my lines at home, and now I was in Rosebud for my first rehearsal, and my part was Priscilla, I think her name was, and she was supposed to distract these young men who were playing poker with my father so my father could cheat and win. So Wes, the director, called for action, and I walked on stage, and I walked over to one of the young fellows named Royal, and I slunk my arm around him, and I said my line, "Hiya, Wally." And there was dead silence on the stage until this voice comes from the background. It's Wes, the director. Cherie, that's good, but maybe the intensity is a little bit higher than it needs to be at this point in the scene. Maybe just dial it back a little bit, and you know, maybe that intensity is okay for later on. But anyway, I was devastated. I was mortified, and Wes started the scene again. And this time I tried to dial it back a little bit. So I walked over to Royal, and I didn't put my arm around him this time, but I just got into his face and said, "Hiya, Wally." Dead silence. Wes from the back of the auditorium. Okay, Cherie, well, that's a little better, but I think you really need to pull back and just take it down a bit. And so I think we did that one line of mine, I don't know how many times, 4 or 5 times, until finally I walk on stage. I barely glance over at Royal and say kind of over my shoulder, "Oh, hiya, Wally." And then that was fine, and we went on with the scene. But I guess that's how the other girl had played it, and I didn't know that. So that was my first experience of real acting. Yeah, it's surprising that I actually went on to enjoy that show. Well, I didn't enjoy the show. I really enjoyed rehearsals. But you know, in a run of a play like that in dinner theater, you do the same show for like 2.5 months or something. And by the end of the first week, I was ready to be done. I was like, oh, do I have to go out on stage again? Kill me now. But the rest of the people were fine. They loved it. They ate it up with a spoon. They were real actors. Actually, they were. It was amazing how many incredibly talented people we had on stage that summer and over the next few years. But at that point in Rosebud's history, they were basically using anyone they had. And so, you know, a girl drives up with her parents to check out the school, and they say, hey, you wanna be on stage this summer? Now it's so different. The school has evolved into really a legitimate professional training school for theater arts. But anyway, I went to Rosebud. So that's all I'm going to tell you about Rosebud in this video. Next time I will talk about the geeky maintenance man that liked me in Rosebud.